Well, I definitely wasn't expecting this today, but I will definitely take it. What's up everybody, welcome back to some more Biomutant updates. We just got a massive new update out of the blue. It's called patch 1.5 and it introduces a long list of changes, among which we are getting a pretty massive level cap increase, some really amazing loot buffs, and a ton of other stuff on top, including the fact that they just added a brand new targeting system in the game in case you were missing that, and a ton of other stuff that I want to discuss in here, so let's jump right into it. By the way, I'm doing a giveaway for the month of June for a game of your choice. All you have to do is to take part in it by following my links down below and then simply pick whatever game you want from the list of games over there on Instant Gaming's website, and in about 11 days from this point I will announce the winner right here on this channel as well as via the email address provided, and I will also give a huge shout out to Instant Gaming for making this giveaway possible. But yeah, patch 1.5 is available right now, at least on the Steam version from what I'm seeing, but for the consoles it should follow up soon within the next week according to the announcement right here. Now they came in fresh with a pretty interesting field of view type setting for the PC crowd, especially if you have a wide monitor and you want to get the correct aspect ratio. They added both a horizontal and a vertical field of view that you can control in case you want to do some of that. But I want to jump right into it with the progression. They increased level cap from the maximum of 50 that was previous all the way up to 100, which, dude, that's crazy. It was already pretty awesome because you could level up and like get some really awesome stuff. A new game plus, now you can level up all the way up to 100, so this gives you an even bigger incentive to maybe go ahead and do that, but not as big as the items and the loot changes. So in order to improve the loot experience, we've tweaked how the loot generation works to reduce duplicate items and improve variety. We have also added several new items which have higher stats than their lower rarity counterparts. This means that an item found with a certain rarity can also be found later with a higher rarity and substantially improved stats. And on top of it, we also have added a much requested scrap action to the loot screen, which should reduce time spent cleaning up the inventory. So this honestly right here just sounds like exactly what I wanted from Biomutant. Honestly, I can't believe that they came in pretty quickly after the game's launch with some of the best changes, to be honest, like more loot, higher levels, better chances. That's exactly what I would like to see in games like these. But going over the other changes regarding to loot, there's a pretty lengthy list right here, so I will just go over these quickly. They added more superb loot variations, they added higher tier relic and legendary weapon parts, and that will start dropping at around level 50. They updated the loot generation, as I've said, to provide more variation and less duplicate items. They added that scrap action in the loot screen, added settings for hiding or showing head items. Yes, finally, I can't believe that is happening. They increased damage of later tribe weapons to better fit player level and gear. I honestly always felt that some of these tribe weapons kind of fell off really quickly compared to some of the really awesome early legendaries you could get, and even like the ultimates you could craft. Yeah, I'm glad that they also are getting some buffs. They removed add-on slots from special gear that can't be scrapped, lost, or crafted with. They fixed issues which allowed an unlimited material supply to be gained from crafting. It also seems that they did a small update to the saw blades to have lower spread, higher velocity, and correct pierce through enemy behavior, which sounds that they are getting a buff slightly. They were pretty slow and with a wide spread, so in theory this should be a buff. They fixed Pichu Nunchuck being hidden in inspect mode, also fixed an issue where it was possible to equip another one-handed weapon when the Pichu Nunchuck was already equipped. They fixed an issue which caused the Valve N to have higher stats than intended, and there's a few more in there that you can go ahead and read in the links down below, but I want to go over the settings, and especially so over the combat settings in just a little bit, starting with the HUD/mode setting, where it's possible to select either always show or dynamic. Selecting the dynamic option hides the persistent UI elements after a while outside of combat. When dynamic is selected, the player can open either menu or quick menu for the UI elements to show up temporarily. By default, the old always show behavior is selected, so in case you want to play a more cinematic kind of experience. On the same note, they also added a quick menu toggle accessibility setting. When enabled, the player isn't required to hold down the corresponding input to open the quick menus in order to, for example, use a consumable or swap a weapon. Instead, the quick menu will open and close by tapping the corresponding button, which some of you out there might prefer instead of the old systems. Now, I do want to go over the combat settings because these are the most significant. As I've said, the most important right here is the fact that they added an optional lock-on targeting for melee combat. How many of you wanted this since day one? I'm pretty sure that many of the reviews out there were centered around the lack of a lock-on targeting mode. Well, here it is finally in the game. They also added attack animation cancelling to certain moves by using dodge, which should promote a little bit more of that high skill combat. They added the ability to smaller enemies to throw rocks at the player when mounted. They also added chances for the player to be knocked off their mount when hit by said rocks, which sounds pretty interesting. They added the fling behavior to player mounts when it is in combat, and they also tweaked the Porky Puff double boulder throw attack. Now it is possible to dodge the second rock after being hit by the first one, which previously it was not possible. If you got hit by the first one, it was game over. You would get hit by the second one as well, which would make the fighting a little bit more difficult against that World Eater. But they've also fixed an issue where the player could get stuck in grab animations. They fixed invincibility perk damage multiplier, and they've also fixed stimulus perk damage multiplier. Moving on to the user interface, there's a few things here that I really like, including that indicator for completed area objectives on the map, which in theory should help you a little bit more with the map completion, or when you're trying to like 100% in a certain area. I kind of like that because I honestly thought that it was really lacking in the game. They've also added pinned indicators to items used in outfits, fixed equipped indicators showing incorrect item after selling another item, and they've also added a pause playtime when in the system menu or when the game is deactivated. But continuing things off with the open world and the new game plus, let's talk about the fact that they added another round of respawning enemy camps in some of the areas in the game. They already done that in the previous update, but mostly to the starting areas. Now they added a few more. They added some respawning enemies in some areas, but also increased the spawn rate for random encounters. For the new game plus though, they added modifiers which somewhat increase the difficulty after starting a new game plus game, and also additionally for each new subsequent NG plus loop. In case you're doing that and you're pushing to like 100 level, yeah, that should make things a lot more interesting. They've also fixed aura score not being reset when starting a new game plus game, and they fixed plank resources being reset when starting a new game plus. From this point on, it's just about like crash fixes. So they fixed a ton of these, including like for the character, when receiving damage there was a crash in there, when forcing an exit with the Macton, another one when climbing up on an enemy and being launched towards an enemy. These are just a few of them that have been fixed. So yeah, really impressive update. I honestly just love the support and the fact that they're just giving everything the community is asking for. Now, if there's anything else on top that you really wanted to see in the game and they still didn't add it with the last couple of patches, then yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. Who knows, maybe we will see it in another supposed patch, maybe 1.6. Who knows if it's going to happen, but yeah, it looks like they're making some really nice progress with the game. This is it for now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.